taken a series of rate cuts and some other stimulus. Over the past few days, as I mentioned, you can see that we have broken. Over the past few days, we have started to see strength in some of the top Chinese stocks. What is the reason why strength is coming back? And in today's video, I'll be showing you guys 2 top Chinese tech stocks that you can potentially put in your watch list for more upside. Hey guys, Joey here, top tier myself, trader in Philip Securities, and we'll cover some of the news that happened. Why are we seeing bullishness in the Chinese market? Alright, what has the government announced? And more importantly, we'll dive into the charts of Tencent and Alibaba to see if you are in time to position yourselves for potentially even more upside. Let's go. So a week after the US Federal Reserve had cut rates by 0.5%, now the Chinese government as well have kind of like take broad measures to spur the economy, right? So they have taken a series of rate cuts and some other stimulus. So just 2-3 days back, you can see China announced a broad range of stimulus measures to support the faltering economy, right? Stabilizing the housing sector. So the property market has not been doing that well over the past 1 to 2 years as well, with some property developers defaulting, right? So now they want to spur not just the economy but also the property sector as well. And of course, stocks and bonds jump after the announcement. So they've introduced what we call a triple R cut. It's a reserve requirement ratio which allows the banks to lend more to borrowers, and that can spur more borrowing and also spending in the economy. And of course, the central bank has also done what we call a rate cut by about 0.2%, and they have taken steps to also reduce existing mortgage rates to spur the property market. The Chinese government has also taken steps to revive the stock market. So as you know, right, over the past 2 to 3 years since the Chinese government cracked down, we have seen weakness in many of the Chinese tech stocks, and they are all trading at pretty much multi-year lows. But we are starting to see some stability, some bottoming out coming back, all right, and there could be a potential reversal. And now with this news, it could lead more people to start looking at the Chinese stock market again. So what are some of the news they have announced? Well, they mentioned that they will issue guidance for medium and long-term funds to enter the market, and they want to promote like M&A as well. They will further support China's State Farm Central Huqing investment, something like our GIC and Temasek, in stock purchases and expanding investment scope. Okay, let's move on to Tencent, right? Stock code 700.HK, listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, that we have started to see strength over the past few days, right? Due to the news that came out, right? And let's see if there could potentially be more upside. So this is Tencent trading at about 441 Hong Kong dollars. You can see that we have broken this very key resistance level for Tencent. That is the $400. Look at this right over here. This is the 400 level. Somewhere in 2023 January, same thing in April we touched it. That was somewhere in 2022 as well. Right over here, we neared it, came back down. So this 400 is what we call a very key psychological resistance that we have been trading below since beginning of 2022. So for more than 2 years, we've been trading below this critical psychological resistance level. We saw like 3 or 4 or 5 times of it touching, retracing back down. But over the past few days, it's a fact that we have broken, all right, this $400 psychological resistance level. So not too bad. That could be a very meaningful, and we see prices breaking a key level that we've been trading below for many months. In fact, this is like more than 2 years, right? And looking at the moving averages, when we were consolidating below this 400, you can see that we were actually in a downtrend. As I mentioned, right, many of those tech stocks sold off heavily since 2021. You can see Tencent was somewhere over here, 680, 600. It went all the way down to about 200. We found some support. So it was a bit of a downtrend. It turned from a downtrend to a sideways trend somewhere around beginning of 2023. You can see you can draw maybe a support over here. We found a little bit of a support somewhere around that 250 to about 250, 260 range. You can see, so the longer term trend turned from down to sideways as per the moving averages. In terms of the red and blue line, they're like mainly moving sideways. But what happens is that over the past few months, we started to see strength in terms of the longer term trend starting to turn up. So you can see this red and blue line, 100 days moving average line, has crossed up above the blue line. So 100 days above the 200 days moving average. That's where they're seeing some signs of the uptrend forming in the longer term. But as I mentioned, right, when that happened, right, look up, you see that we were still trading below that $400 psychological resistance level. That was in June, right? That was in June. But it consolidated. Maybe we found another higher support. It was like 350. So let me just put this in green color. It was like 350 to 400. You can see from June, May, June, July, for about 4 to 5 months. And finally, over the past few days, as I mentioned, you can see that we have broken, right, the 400. Now it's 442. I think it's gone up a little bit more, right? So this is live, the market is trading, all right? And yeah, so it's broken the 400 level, which would now be a new support level. So let me just turn this to green in color. I would say that that would now be a new support level. So you look down, you can see the longer term trend is up. The short term trend, as represented by the 20 days moving average line, has started to slope up as well on this move. So this is Tencent, and I think it looks pretty bullish, as I mentioned, as long as we stay above this new 400 psychological support level. But let's take a look at where we can potentially head to, right, before maybe seeing some profit taking coming back. So let's look at the past. You can see that this was where we were somewhere in 2021. All right, so that's where we could actually draw what we call some resistance levels. You can see right over here, that is where there could be a bit of a resistance level. That is where you can see we saw selling, right, selling somewhere over here. It's a support. We broke down support level. It's about the 480, right, 480 to maybe 500. I think that would be like the near-term resistance whereby we could see some selling actually coming back all the way over here, all the way right over here. So upside targets, you can see, would be anything from like about 400 all the way to about $480. That's where potentially some selling or some profit taking can come back again. So yeah, it's the beginning, I would say, of a reversal that is more firm, because as I mentioned, we have broken above the 400, we are still above it. So there could be potentially more upside in terms of the reversal taking shape and forming up much more firmly now, right? So 480 could be a resistance. After 480, maybe we might see it retrace to the next level, to the next resistance, and that would be the key $600 level. You can see right over here a little bit of a resistance level somewhere in 2021. It was before we sold off heavily, before it turned to a downtrend. You can see we broke some support and we started to sell down. So that after 480 to 500, 600 could be the next potential upside. Yeah, so you can put this stock in your watch list. I think, as I mentioned, that is where we are seeing a bit of signs of a reversal ongoing, all right? And of course, with this news coming out, which is triggering more momentum in this stock, all right, in terms of the government announcement, that could be a good thing for the tech sector in the China market as well. So if you like this video, guys, and want to find out a little bit more about my entire one good trend strategy, where do we on time our entry to get in, when to get out, how we have a system to help us as well, attend one of those free webinars. The link is right below this video somewhere there. Click on it, register for it, turn up, show up, and that's where I'll show you guys step by step on the entire framework. So you can't like understand, how do we analyze a stock like this. Now we are just diving into it, but in the webinar we'll dive into the reasons why we are doing things in a certain way. Okay, let's take a look at the other popular tech stock listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and that will be Alibaba Group Holdings, right? Stock code is 9988.HK, right? So now Alibaba, you can see that we are trading at about $103. But before we talk about where we are, let's take a look at what has happened over the past 3 to 4 years. So you can see for Alibaba, right, we have traded all the way to a high in 2020, right over here at about that 300 level. Of course, we broke certain support, like the 250, even the 200 support gave way, went all the way down. Of course, we turned into what we call a downtrend. So that was when we had the Chinese government coming out with a crackdown on many of those stocks in the tech sector, and we've seen Alibaba just trading down. And somewhere around like beginning of 2023, same thing, we turned from a bit of a downtrend to like a sideways trend with the moving averages. You can see the red and the blue line, they're like both pointing down, red below the blue. But somewhere around 2023, you can see we started to see the red and blue line both pointing sideways, maybe just cutting up and down, one another, but they're mainly moving sideways. So a bit of a downtrend to a sideways trend over the past 2 years, I would say. But let's take a look at what has happened over the past few months. So you can see, right, somewhere around like July, over the past 2 to 3 months, we have seen that the moving averages, 100 days moving average line, the red has gone above the blue right now. The red is still above the blue. So there are some signs of the uptrend forming in the longer term as well. But as I mentioned, we need to break some of the very key resistance levels. Let's find out if that has happened. So what is that key resistance level? So let me go to draw this horizontal line right over here. I think that would be the 100 psychological resistance level. You can see that was where we were last year. We almost neared it. We came back down again. We attempted to break it, came back down again. I would say 100 would be a psychological resistance level that we want to break above, we want to stay above for any meaningful reversal to happen for Alibaba. After 100, then perhaps it could be about the 120 level, maybe right over here. Why 120? Well, you can see that is also where we have seen selling in 2022, right over here, came back down, same thing, selling coming back, so 100 and then 120. So we want to breach a certain resistance level. We want to see signs of the moving averages turning up as well, not just in the longer term but also in the short term, and that can all lead to that reversal. So let's scroll back to where we are right now. All right, and you can see that over the past few days, especially on the news, right, that was announced by the Chinese government. Well, great, right? We have broken. Right now the price is 103.6 Hong Kong dollars, which is above $100, right? So we have kind of like broken. Of course, the market has not closed yet, so we've kind of like broken the $100. If we can stay above it, if we can close above it today or maybe next week, that would be a very good signal that, you know, buyers are prepared to take it higher, you know, out of this 1 to 2 years sideways consolidation, all right, to another higher phase. And upside targets can then be revised, all right, from 100 maybe all the way to 110 to 120. Then we may see maybe some profit taking, maybe some consolidation again before attempting to break even higher. All right, and let's take a look at the short-term trend as well. So you can see that we can draw another temporary resistance level right over here. If I can draw this line, that would be around the 85, right? $85, you can see. So that was where we were trading below since like October last year for about a year. Slight temp resistance level, right? Look at this, right? Touch, came down, but same thing, just about a week back, Friday 20 September, we broke above this 85, went up, we broke 100 over today, all right, and it seems like we're moving higher. So when we break that 85, you can see that this 20 days moving average, this green line was already starting to slope up, and right now of course it's still trying to slope up, right? So that's a good thing. So as long as we stay above that 100 now, I think potentially we might really start to see the reversal of Alibaba playing out, maybe all the way to $120 resistance first. So there we have it, guys. These are pretty much the two top popular Chinese tech stocks that we get asked quite often on, right? Alibaba and Tencent. I hope that you have a clearer picture of where we are right now, what are some of the news that have came out, and for these two stocks specifically, where can we potentially head to before we see some selling, and why are we seeing, you know, some bullishness over the past few days as well. All right, so Joey here. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, hit the follow button so that you will not miss out on any videos like this. That will really help out the channel as well, and thank you so much for doing this. And also, if you want to find out a little bit more in terms of the entire strategy, right, in terms of my one good trend strategy, attend one of those free webinars. The link is right below the video. Click on it, register for it. It's about 2 hours long. That's where I'll share with you step by step on the entire framework and how we have a system as well to guide us on entry and exit. Joe here. Take care. I'll see you soon.